If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ PK, and we're joined now by Austin Ainge, Utah Jazz, president of basketball operations. Austin, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
The draft is still a few weeks away here. Do you have an idea how it's going to play out now? I know you've been working on it for a while, but there's still time for curveballs here. What's your level of confidence that you could predict now what's going to happen then?
Well, I will say that, all the permutations to two are a little easier than in years past, DJ. But, no, I don't think we know. I'm not sure the teams know. I'm not sure we know exactly what we're going to do. I don't know if other teams are either. There's still a lot of information that can be gained in this time of year, and everyone tries to go slow and get it right.
Yeah, Austin, that leads me into my very first question. Because it's two draft position as opposed to 5 and 6 and so forth, the field as far as potentials are a little more narrow, obviously, because it's higher. What type of work does you and your people, the staff, the management need to do between now and, I guess, draft night, knowing that it's a little bit different because you are drafting so high?
Yeah, so kind of this time of year, what we do is we pour over the medical stuff, right? That's a huge thing that we have not had access to in the past, and we make sure we get experts to look at any issues that arise. And, these guys all got tested in various different ways at the combine, and we'll be getting some of these things, some of these reports in this week. And so we'll do a lot of that work. We will get a chance to meet with these guys again and talk with them and try to get them to know them better as people. And then we continue to watch film. We'll go back and watch, in some cases all the way back through their high school seasons and through their college season, and just, with a narrowed focus on a narrow range now, we'll go just extra deep and make sure we've got the full scope and all the information fresh in our minds and do the best we can.
In the past, we've seen the Jazz draft, whatever year, 8, 10, 15, and they bring a lot of guys through for workouts. And you see a lot of players who end up, Steven Adams came through at one point, they didn't draft him, but you see players like that who go on to really good careers. But what's the cutoff? I know the top guys don't usually work out, and when you're drafting too, I don't know if guy 10 wants to work out for you and spend all that energy and get on a flight. What is the cutoff there as far as getting guys to work out for you?
Yeah, your instinct is right there that the guys that feel like they're and that we communicate that we're serious about, will come in, but it's not a huge list. And the guys at this range of the draft, it was the same last year at 5. They come in and typically do an interview and then a little shooting workout, not live against other people, and so. There's a limited amount of information you can gain from that, and we try to not overrate it or underrate it, just properly put it in its place and add it to the pile of information we're gathering. I would say the most important thing is we just get them to spend time with coach and us and have a dinner and have a breakfast and just really get to know them as people, because honestly, none of these players are ready-made. None of them are good enough right now. They all need to progress, and who they are determines that as much as their talent.
So all of us are fired up about the draft, but everything happens so quickly because then you have the free agency that hits immediately, basically right afterward, and maybe a day or two or a week between, but you get the point. And so we focus on the draft. but how about adding talent through trade acquisitions or free agency? How much of that do you anticipate?
I mean, definitely some. It's hard to anticipate exactly how much, but we'll try to be aggressive, appropriately aggressive in adding and making our team better. We have some free agents of our own from the team. There's some free agents out there. We could go a few different directions to address some of the weaknesses, and some of that will be determined by which position we draft, right? So there's a lot to do, and most of our roster is built in that end of June, beginning of July, and it's a busy time and an important time. So we've got a lot of work to do. The teams in the West are really good, and the teams in the league are really smart, and the rules will be different next year. So there'll be a lot of changes. It'll be a lot more competitive and challenging, and we're very aware that we got to take a big jump here in a lot of different ways. But we're pretty excited about the group, the talent level, and some of the progress we're seeing from some of the players.
Obviously, the other roster moves depend on which player you end up getting with the draft, but you can't draft a veteran. Do you need a veteran ball handler or two around the perimeter?
Well, it's definitely something we're looking at. I mean, look, there's the way I would say it, DJ, is that you've got specific needs, and sometimes those needs are glaring enough that you just go get a player that fits them. Mm-hmm. But they have to be good enough in the end, right? So, I want a shooter, I want a shot blocker, I want a ball handler. But if they're not good enough to play in the playoffs, then it doesn't help you. So we have to be able to get the guys that are good enough to play. And I think we have an amazing coaching staff that I think can figure a lot of things out. So I would say need is definitely a discussion, but also overall quality. And you're just balancing those things.
You talk about getting guys who are good enough to play. This question excludes Ace Bailey and Kante George, but there was a number of guys who've been brought on the team in the last 3 years. Do you believe that they are good enough?
I mean, some of them, and some of them are getting better every day, and they just need to be good enough by the playoffs or by the regular season. So we've got a lot of guys getting better. I feel like we've got a number of guys that can play. Some of it is also the role you're put in, right? Yeah, if you're asked to do too much, sometimes as a young player, you can look inefficient or out of place. And then, when the top of the roster is a little more in place, their job gets easier or a little more focused. And, but a lot of this remains to be seen. We got a lot of figuring out to do in the season, and a lot of competition going on for those minutes and possessions and role. And I'm really excited for it. Our guys are pumped. They're in the gym right now working out. We've got a big group, including Jaren. He's looking great, looking healthy, and pumped.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Defensively, this team has been 29th or 30th for quite a stretch, going over a couple of years now. And obviously there's a lot of reasons for that, and some of those reasons are going to go away. How good can they get and how quickly? Can this be a top 10 defensive team next year? Can it be top 5? It's going to be a lot of size and athletic ability, which ought to help.
Yeah, I mean, we sure hope we make a big jump there. That was definitely a big consideration in bringing in Jaron, who's a former Defensive Player of the Year and a guy who can cover up a lot of weaknesses of other players and can play multiple positions. But we also know that one player can't do it all. So we need improvement throughout the roster, and we need defense is also something we're considering strongly in the draft and in free agency. So I think there's a lot of ways we need to address it: internal improvement, external improvement, and just a little more size and talent on the floor should help all those things. I have high expectations for this group in a big improvement, but I'm trying to avoid specific numbers. I don't like putting the pressure or the limits of numbers, right? I don't want to put limits on these guys, nor do I want to put the pressures, but we try to put pressure in process. And so far, I'm very pleased seeing how hard everyone's working and the focus on even the player development on defense. It will be a big emphasis all summer.
Journalism these days, particularly sports journalism, as you know full well, it's devolved into sources said, right? Sources are all over the place these days, I guess. And so obviously, the Jazz have reached out to Washington. I'm going to ask you a general question, so it's not anything specific. But when deals are made, what is the process in terms of Team A calling Team B or Team B calling Team A? Could you just walk us through generally how these things work?
Yeah. Well, I will say, PK, the way things generally work is not you call and make a trade offer the day after the lottery. So that was pretty ridiculous. So generally trades happen like this, right? Like we talk all the time with other teams. We see each other at places like the Combine and Summer League and college games and NBA games and G League games, and we call and we check in periodically. During the season, I would say once a month. During this time of year, more frequently, and we have conversations. And who do you like? Who do you not like? What are you looking for? What type of players do you need? And then if there's we maybe have extras of something and they need something, maybe, okay, do you like these guys? No. What about at this price? No. And we just kind of communicate in general terms about kind of our goals and needs as a team. Well, hey, we kind of like this guy if you ever like to move him. And then maybe a year later they come back and said, hey, we're thinking of moving this guy, or we're looking for this. Is this something you'd still be interested in? You just kind of have these general conversations a lot, and to get a feel for where teams are at. And it's of both teams' interests to communicate a little bit what we're trying to do so we can try to get something done, right? If there's something that works for both teams. And then, if there's something that in general terms makes a little bit of sense, you go, okay, I'd give you a first-round pick for that guy, or I'd give you 2 seconds for this point guard. And they go, oh, no, that's way too high. And you say, well, let us know if there's anything. And then you both hang up and you just sit and wait and see if anybody budges. So it's not like you're not like convincing people. They all have their own evaluations, just like we do. So you don't sit there and try to sell, well, this guy has really done this and this and this, and look at his stats. Like they roll their eyes. They don't want to hear that, So it's really just kind of look, I'd do it at this price, but not at this. If you want to come back, call me. Or if you want to add in this other player, and you just kind of do general terms. And it's a lot of sitting and waiting, and seeing if something budges. So that's kind of how it goes.
Well, Austin, we could go on all day. I got 50 more questions, but we'll save it for next time. I know you only got a few minutes here, but we appreciate you. The fans are dying to hear from you. We appreciate you. I know you got other things on your plate, but giving them a few minutes and talking. People will be chewing on this forever, and I bet you can guess what's going to end up on social media already.
Appreciate it, guys. Always fun.
All right. Thank you, Austin. There's Austin Ainge, Utah Jazz president of basketball operations.
Yeah, taking from that, they're going to be active in free agency and trade possibilities. That it's not just we're so focused on a draft, but then as soon as that's over, boom. and they're going to be active. I suspect the draft is a move, but 2 moves beyond that.
Yeah, I'd totally buy that.
And
then what are they?
Major on the scale.
And what are they? Again, goes back to, well, who did they draft? Right? Because there's a roster spot, and you're betting on that guy.
That's why I'm bullish on this team being a lot better, certainly than it was the last 4 years, but even better than a lot of people anticipate for next season.
We had to let him go there, but it'll be interesting down the road to see if watching these playoffs, because he went right to that. You know, they don't have to be good enough today. They have to be good enough when the season starts in October. They have to be good enough when you get to the playoffs next April. We're seeing the best teams in the biggest games. They're guys who just can't go. They can't. And it's not one injury-prone guy. We got a couple guys on both the Spurs and the Thunder who've had to miss games here. Games that really matter. Players who really matter. So do you have to build a 12-player roster so you know you got your 8, 9, or 10, whatever you're trying to do when you get to that point? Because there's always going to be a couple guys out. If these guys can't go now, it doesn't seem like a fluke to me, given how many guys have been out for long periods of time. And it's easy to say, hey, Embiid's injury-prone. Well, he's got a history that backs that up. He is injury-prone, but does Jalen Williams?
I like Embiid is basically healthy-prone.
The flip side of that.
Yeah. Right?
But right. But
it
even
sucks, but that's the truth.
Yeah. But we're seeing it with everywhere with multiple guys and even role guys who aren't playing that big of minutes. There's something about the stress they're under now. There's something about the way they're eating or training and all the minutes they play and the running, cutting, jumping. I mean, guys are just breaking down left and right here. There have been so many guys out in this playoffs. And the Spurs and Thunder have been able to get through it. The Spurs, because Wemby's awesome, and he's been able to largely stay out there, although he's missed almost 2 full games during the playoffs.
I believe that the Jazz, the mindset is it's go time right now. It's go time this month, and then till the first or second week of July. And then we'll have a much better idea, and I think there'll be significant additions to the team. Obviously the draft pick, but I think there'll be 2 others that can step up. I think they think that the window is not fully open, but it is opening as we speak, and they want to take advantage of the time that they have right now.
There's one, I definitely heard that in Austin's voice, just having, talked to him multiple times over the years, and you've talked to him even more. And I think that there was one other thing, just to amplify that a little bit. We can get to it next. I mean, I just think it's crystal clear in his voice. And it's hard to give them this and concede them this, but if you're thinking realistically, you need to, and we'll get to that next. Stay with us.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
Thumbtack presents Tile Trouble. Every single time I use my sink, I make eye contact with the uneven grout on my kitchen backsplash. The crooked corners eye me, and I'm haunted by more tiling questions than I thought possible. What kind of pro can fix a backsplash? Can I replace one cracked tile, or should I replace them all? What if I just use Thumbtack? I can hire top-rated pros, read reviews, and compare prices with a tap, all on the app. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.